will have access to this.
Oh
Gonna
God.
upload into their cloud.
Yeah. They're gonna put it on like one of their websites over there.
Come to Oregon State.
This is the stuff we do.
Okay, cool.
All right, let's see if we can get a few more folks in here. Who's there with you, Isaac? Oh,
Nope.
what jersey are you wearing?
Oh, it's an Ant-Man.
Oh, nice. That's super nice. Didn't you?
25 bucks.
What hat did you buy in Vegas? Was that a Nuggets or was it? I think
Did I
I
buy
got.
the Nuggets one or the Seattle one there?
I think you got the Nuggets, and I think I got the Timberwolves one.
That's right. The purple one. That shit was awesome.
Prince, yeah, it's super nice.
Isaac still has my Seattle Sonics hat.
He's definitely not coming off mute now.
No.
I'll give it back to you someday, I promise.
Oh, no, he won't.
Get back to me like someday if I ever get married.
He's gonna bring it to Atlanta, wear it, and then bring it. So great. I know the draft is in 12 minutes. Do we want to give the crew? I
Yeah.
can speed through this pretty quickly, but do you want to give the team one more minute and then I'll jump in?
Look at that project management skills.
I know. It's like I'm trying to not think of work, but this is also like this is my life. So,
Yeah, where's Rob?
I don't know, but I have some jokes at his expense, so I want him here.
Is he with you, Isaac?
Sorry, what's up?
Who's with you?
I'm with Mikey and Eric.
Oh, okay, nice. Cool. All right, we're gonna start once Rob jumps in because I think that's
Okay.
And thank you for Amir for taking notes today and screen sharing. I appreciate the
I'll
assistance.
mute myself and just say click and I'll click.
Yeah. Next slide, please. Next slide. No, yeah, it's not sorry. Yeah. How often is it a thunderstorm by you, Amir?
Pretty much every day.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of nice. I miss that.
I like the weather for sure, but when I'm driving, like it gets kind of rough out there.
It's crazy. It's like random extreme bursts of rain and then it just stops a minute later.
Yeah.
So weird.
It's definitely not Cali weather.
No. It'll be
Uh,
incredible in like October.
yeah. I think you have like 2 months where it's like super nice.
Mhm.
Now that the man of the hour is here, we're going to get started. We're going to go through my fantasy year in review. So before we go in there were a few ways I could have done this. You could have just done a few slides, made it super stupid, get super serious. But I think given everything that I went through last year, on the next slide, we had to pretty much do an in-depth autopsy of my year last year. So on the next slide, just an agenda of how we're going to do it. So we have the brief overview of the season. We're going to have a little bit of a systematic suspect analysis. Who is at fault? We don't know, but we have some theories. And then we have a Q&A and a group therapy session. We only have 9 minutes, so we might not get to group therapy, but throughout the year, we can definitely meet up and talk about our feelings. But on the next slide here, so the season overview, I want to paint a picture for you guys. The season was bright. The lights were coming down. Everyone was super excited, had their phones out. A champion had returned to the league and was ready to reclaim his rightful place at the top of the league. And on the next slide here's just a picture that encapsulates it. It's America. Everyone's super excited. The champ is here. He's ready to invigorate the energy and get everything going. And the next slide here is how it ended 4 fucking snaps later. My boy here couldn't fucking move, which I think is a really good analogy for my season as well. So on the next slide, the way we kind of break this down is suspect analysis. We'll start with a quote from an amazing prophet. I'm not sure if you guys have heard him. On the next slide, we have Marshawn Lynch. So the quote is, "I know I'm going to get got, but I'm going to get mine more than I get got though," which is a quote that I really live my life to. But as we can all see on the next slide, only part of that portion was correct. The second part was definitely a lie. So what we want to do here is when we take a step back, we want to kind of develop a system to look into what really happened here. So on the next slide here, we started to look into the Dennis system, but it's actually spelled correctly. I don't know, this double N just doesn't make any sense. So that's how we're going to break down our analysis here. So on the next slide here, we're going to get into part 2, where we're going to actually break into all of the different systems. So Denis-the draft like the Carolina Panthers. And what do I mean by that? So on the next slide, we have a breakdown of some good picks I made. Derrick Henry, solid. Nick Chubb, good for about 2 games before he died. Jalen Waddle, decent. Mark Andrews, one of the best tight ends. And that's really where it stops. On the next slide here, from round 5 to round 10, we can all just kind of laugh at me, with just some of the picks that I had. And conveniently, I actually had a video of myself as I was looking at these picks. You can actually see that on the next slide. Just my reaction kind of looking at the picks that I had, as well as just some of the decisions I made in the draft. So moving on to E, which stands for, I now forget, engage in no trades, which is always a really good pick. I think Isaac kind of spurned me a couple of years ago, where I think he was trying to trade me Dion Lewis or somebody like 1,000 times, and I just wasn't doing it. But this year there was another culprit on the next slide here who gave me a couple of trades for Jalen Waddle. Really wanted him. And one of these kind of stands out more than the others. And you'll see why on the next slide here. We'll compare Jalen Waddle to Puka Nacua in terms of their position rank. And I still kick myself to this day for not giving up Jalen Waddle for Puka Nacua. That was one of my bigger missteps. So on the next slide here, moving into N, neglecting free agency pickups, another key portion here that we want to look into. So on the next slide here, we'll see a couple of the good pickups that I did. I think Adam Thielen was one of the good ones, Zach Moss, but for every one of these good ones, on the next slide, we'll try not to throw up for some of the ones where I was picking up Kareem Hunt, Kendrick Bourne, Sam Howell, just really, really, really rough picks there. And then on the next slide, just keeping a couple of bums. I don't even know who Jerry Jeudy is. I'm out of the league. Like, it could be some random guy, Cam Maker. I want to go by rule, 5 years and never drafting him. Michael Thomas, my dude, can't make 2 games before getting injured. So all just really good decisions on my part. Moving on to the next slide here with in other words, this is who are we going to blame here? We don't know, but the culprit's still out there. We're trying to figure it out. So on the next slide, we're going into I, which stands for injuries, which is always a fun part of fantasy, as we all know. So in the next slide, we have a breakdown. This was my week 1 lineup, so take a look and try not to throw up. There are some good players there, but if we go to the next slide here, we can see how they ended up going. Nick Chubb out for the season after week 2. Cam Akers ass, but also out after week 10. Khalil Herbert injured after week 5. Michael Thomas, Kirk Cousins out for the season. Joe Burrows didn't have a leg for like the first 8 weeks. And then Gabe Davis, who is Gabe Davis. So all this contributed to, on the next slide here, my final lineup, which had Russell Wilson as my quarterback, which is just amazing, just amazing. So if we go to the next slide here, we'll go to S, which stands for something. ESPN is a sassy bitch. So if we go to the next slide here, I'll just kind of take a look. So this is the recap slide for all of you that aren't aware, and we actually need to enhance this image. So if we just click one more time, you'll see ESPN gave me a trophy that said I tried, which I cried for a good like 5 minutes after that, but I did appreciate that they at least gave me something to commemorate my achievement. So moving on to the next slide here. So we went through the systematic kind of analysis. So who is at fault? That's a really great question, and we have an answer. We've done a lot of analysis, and on the next slide here, we're going to blame Rob here. This is all Rob's fault. It could have been any one of us, but at the end of the day, it's just on Rob. I don't know why he did this to us, but something he's going to have to live with. So on the next slide here, Q&A section. I don't think we have any questions or anything, so we can go to the next slide here. I just want to leave you guys on another quote from Terry Bradshaw. I may be dumb, but I'm not stupid. So, and that's it. That's a quick recap of how my season went. Just a lot of crying and healing throughout this. And thank you guys for your time, and thank you, Amir, for walking us through it. And I rest my case.
Good job.
Well done.
I feel like he's just gonna draft the same way he did last year.
That was so good.
So bad, dude.
We got 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So can we always blame Rob? Because I'd like to blame Rob.
I mean, it is
all
Rob.
reasonable.
Yeah, I think
It's
so.
normal. I accept. Don't worry. I'm used to it.
Julio. All right, should we hop over and start the draft, and hopefully I don't have to do this again next year? Fingers crossed.
Possible.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
Yep.
Bye.
Till next time.
Thanks,
Till
Amir.
next time.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
funny.
Bye.
Well done.